You know what's really cool is like those used to be sighs of like apprehensive, pensive dread, I would say, whenever I switched on the camera. And now they're very much sighs of like decompression, relaxation. Yeah, maybe relaxation even. Wow, holy shit. It's taken a lot of work to get cameras to be for any part of me. Not all parts of me. I think for like definitely for some parts of me, cameras are still triggering and challenging to like I am feeling and noticing a lot of thoughts and feelings around how I may be being observed. And as I'm speaking and as I'm vlogging, there's a lot of constant and like not complaining. Absolutely, absolutely right that there is. There's a lot of validation of being like, oh, like yeah, this is a lot of work. Cameras are a bit scary. Many reasons why putting yourself out there on the internet is a bit scary. Way more than a bit, actually. It's like completely terrifying. We've done a lot of work to make it so that we are strong and confident enough in ourselves to put what we're doing out there without fear of consequence, because it's our opinion and our perspective of ourselves that matters, not anyone watching's. I hope that people can get something out of this. That'd be cool. I know that we really appreciated information from other systems when we were just starting out, and it made a massive difference. So that's definitely like a strong motivating factor. Also, I see how there is so much like people like it's not really on us. It's not really about us. If anyone had any issue, well, I'd hope if somebody had an issue and like if something we said was problematic, that would be different. And I would hope people would feel safe to approach us in the comments, and we would be grateful for whatever it was being pointed out, so that we could change our behaviour moving forwards to not impact people negatively. But if it's just people being judgmental, that's just gonna be about them and what they're going through. So there's like a lot of these reminders going on in here, and a lot of validation for the emotion of it being terrifying, because it is fucking terrifying, and a lot of reassurance on how much work we've really done to be okay with that. And you know, it not it doesn't matter what, like no one else's response is anything to do with us. And I can feel those like I can feel relaxed, and I can come back to my body and be with myself totally regardless of how what we put out there is taken, because that's not why we're doing it. It's not what we're doing. And that's really fucking cool. It's taken oh my god, that's taken so much work. And it's ongoing, because this reassurance and validation and catching them as it crops up and feeling the emotions in my body as I'm doing it is also part of the work. Oh my god. It's a lot. It's a lot. I wanted to. I want to. Want to vent or or speak a bit about like how fucking difficult and exhausting and consistent, like unbelievably mind-blowing amounts of work every fucking day is at the minute. but I don't know how to summarize all of everything we're doing without it being inherently dismissive, because there's no way I can summarize all of it. So I'm going to focus on an example. What am I going to focus on as an example? Oh, let's say Halo earlier. So gaming is like a massive trigger for this system. It's associated to some pretty dark shit in places, and a lot of judgmental shit in other places. Like, so for years of life, there was this really discongruent feeling, because I saw myself as a gamer. I enjoyed gaming when we were kids and saw it as something that I would continue doing. So it was like integral to who I saw myself as, but not something that I could actually do. And this led to this like discrepancy between how I saw myself and how I showed up in my life. And it's like a massive confidence shredder, actually, that. So recently, like the last couple of months, maybe? Month? Maybe? um, we've been working on being able to play games and enjoy them. And that is like. This is like the first, oh my god. Oh my god, so much. Like, I start to. My vision gets fed to me weird when I'm gaming. It's getting better, actually. But it's like, I don't know, it's like a bit like tunnel vision-y, and it's a bit like I can't tell what's foreground and what's background. Like, it really loses the three-dimensional stuff, and I can't quite tell what's moving and what's relevant and what isn't. I'm pretty sure these are all just trauma, because like as I relax and get used to it, it's getting way easier to see. And like, just I've noticed that actually the dimensions of the screen really popped and stood out at me in a few games recently, and I'm like, oh whoa. So that's potentially just like literally all an effect of trauma. So it's like the first few weeks or so have just been like grounding, just like switch the game on, ground to the body, ground to the present, consistently, like second by second, like zone out, pull myself back, breathe, remind myself of safety, already starting to zone out, and start pull myself back in again and breathe. And it was like very much just grounding to the senses, like second by second, minute by minute, and trying not to dissociate. There's like tons of work there. And then there'd be like already just looking at the game on the screen, I would be feeling insecure and be having like emotional flashbacks, and like, the vibe of the room wouldn't be feeling safe. I was very much expecting like something bad to happen every time I played badly, or like anytime I died or took a hit or anything, which is like not the one. You really want like some relaxation in having attempts that don't work out if I'm wanting to play something. And so there's like been just tons of work on the fact that switching on the TV and looking at a game is a trigger in and of itself. And then a lot of work to make sure that I'm pulling myself out of flashbacks and reassuring for the insecurities I have, and validating the emotions I'm feeling, and like all of this sort of like it's like flying a TARDIS, I swear to God. And that's kind of just like constant. And I go through these like cycles where at first all I could do was that, and like generally I'd be like walking into a wall a bit or getting killed all the time, and like that would make it worse. So those were like massive triggers to work around. um So like a lot of the work at first was really just on being okay and knowing I was safe to play badly. And then at some point, you know, I think fusions like improving really helps as well, because it's like I could sort of more recently I could actually think about the mechanics of the game and I could actually see it, and it's like the the state my nervous system is in while playing must be changing, um, and it just feels like a different part of my brain is online, so I could actually like strategize a bit and think. It'd still be like a lot of breathing and a lot of grounding to get to that place where I can focus on the game itself. Um, and then a lot of having a camera one. I'm doing amazing. Oh my god, it's like a DJ job. It's fucking constant, which is the irritation at every fucking person in my past that has traumatized us to make this so much hard work. Not at me, he was doing amazingly. Fucking hell. Wankers. Okay, doing good. Okay. And then all of a sudden it's like I could just play. I could strategize, I could think. Um it felt like I was having to like hold all these switches and dials in place, which is why I'm thinking TARDIS flying, in order to get the thing to go, to then be able to actually engage outside of my body with the activity itself, and being able to improve at gaming, and like I've got really fucking good aim now, and I can headshot people. I I I really feel like myself. It's such a part, an integral part of who I see myself as, and some of the like self-image I have for myself really gets clearer and more defined now that I'm doing that. And what's really interesting is like the way I validate and reassure myself while gaming transfers over into daily life activities and vice versa. And like learning to do everything like quick toggle weapons, like check around me and like roll, move, dodge, headshot, um, back into cover, like all the sort of what I'm doing to play well is the same sort of stuff I'm having to do in my brain to manage triggers to be able to play in the first place. So it's a very symbiotic sort of thing, and it feels really meditative actually when I get into the zone of things. And then also we are learning to Kokon. That's where the mirror is. And then so it's like, oh my god, it's like double both of us doing all this shit all at once. And it's so fucking hard to like both Kokon and game. Like a lot of it is kind of running into walls or being like, oh, I rolled into a pillar, oh my god, like what, I juddered, I'm going that way, I'm going this way. And like we've started to learn that our communication inside isn't quite clear enough yet, so we have to speak out loud and like communicate our plans to one another to play together. But sometimes we get into like a really good zone where I could just I could just tell what he's planning and which parts to let go control of so that he can do it and I'm not in his way, like trying to hold control. And some bits where I'm like, oh, he hasn't seen that guy, and like I'll just take the controller and do it and like kill that guy, and like we could be so fucking in sync. To be fair, I only get like at the minute I only get a few minutes, because you know by the time like it's exhausting to get to that sort of like in the zone level with everything we're doing all up in here and all up on the screen to actually get to that, and with both managing to ground to the body at the same time, to be present at the same time, which is really really fucking hard in and of itself. Oh my god, and a lot of headaches But also, I've noticed that if we ground to the body specifically, not just to the front in the brain, less headaches. It's like it feels like there's more space for us here. Um, and it's really cool as well because like I just fucking feel his presence like another person in the room, just really tangibly there. And the controller moving without me. Like sometimes I'm like, is this still my screen? I haven't died, and I'm not like watching somebody else. It's like, whoa, it's really cool. He'll do these like, it's amazing watching your body and your character do something that you're like, whoa, did that come out of us? That was some fucking skill. And like to be fair, I have some moments where I do that and I'm like, whoa, and that was me, and like I'm so impressed. But like his aim is fucking phenomenal. So there's like really cool moments of equilibrium being found in how we engage in these activities. And it's really all about how I think how we're doing it and how we're checking in with each other and ourselves and how we're showing up for ourselves and each other, especially when things are difficult. Because I've had a lot of games we've been playing lately where things are really challenging. It throws like a million fucking things at you at once, with like some bosses that just have such complicated shit to deal with. And the fact that even when I'm like really demoralized and it's going really badly, is when we'll be there with each other and like speak to each other and make it clear that we're there and we got each other's backs and we got our own backs. And it's like the way we are starting to show up for each other and for ourselves as we play games is also transferring back and forth through daily life and through the games we're playing. And it's like I'm really fucking impressed with us. And it's so hard. It's so hard. And it shouldn't be this hard. It's fucking unfair fucking bullshit that just try trying to get an activity like this is supposed to be a leisure activity that people do to calm down, to de-stress, to have fun. And it is work for us to get it to the place where it is those things for us. It breaks my fucking heart. I'm really fucking angry and upset and fucking devastated that so many fucking wankers in our lives traumatized us so much and left this damage in there, and that it is like a fucking minefield having to do what feels like an impossible amount of shit. And the thing is, like, it's not like this is just like I'm using gaming as an example, but it's not just the gaming, you know. It's like this is how life is at the minute. Feels like it feels like there's muscles in my brain that are constantly strained and focused at the minute. And like, you know, when I say constantly, I mean constantly. And there's like there's this strained feeling like all the fucking time. I have to do a lot of like I'm just, like manually relaxing everything I fucking can. And it's like it's hard to explain because it's not like my body is tense through the stress of trauma like it's been, but it's like my brain is focused and honed endlessly and held onto being present in everything I'm doing. And it's like it feels like carrying really heavy weights and never putting them down. Like arms are fucking trembling. And it's solid, like, and if we start to dissociate, we ground from that as well. So it's like, I understand that dissociation is a defense, so that, like, it protects us from experiencing these things, but I just want to build my tolerance of experiencing uncomfortable and painful emotions. I want to find all the joy and the gratitude and the places to experience good emotions wherever and whenever I can. And at the minute, it's pretty fleeting. You know, there's a lot of fleeting moments though. I'll notice like a few seconds where I feel good, but it's like the good is far away or numbed, or we're suspicious of it, or it's unfamiliar, so it feels scary and it triggers like painful emotions right after. So it's interspersed. Good like 70-75% of the time, we do all this work in our head to get into our body, and once we drop into it and we're here, it just feels like I want to cry all the time. And it's like just like this weight in my chest, and it feels like there's a hollow core of pain almost, and like when your arm goes dead or fizzy or something, it's like around the outside center bit, I just feel this weighted gasping for air, like hoarse throat. Sensation 70%, 75% of the time. And this is after so much I've never worked so hard in my life to feel like absolute shit so much of the time. And I can't possibly explain why this is so much better. This is so much better than everything we've had before. Because it doesn't sound it. I know I'm not selling it. But you know, if it sounds this bad and I'm still like, this is so much fucking better, you gotta believe it's better on like a cathartic whole level that I can't even put into words. It's like if I stop trying to avoid like it, just so much thanks to Valentine and endless exercise and like fucking so much determination, we have quit smoking. And I have noticed that where I would have a cigarette to block out this feeling and avoid it and continue to avoid it, or I might scroll through social media, or I might use alcohol or chocolate as a coping mechanism, I now notice those sensations and desires, and we do this work, and when it unclouds and unnumbs, it becomes that pain. But sitting and feeling it and like really going into my chest and feeling it and being in it and being with it and like gently holding it there, like I'm loosely hugging my pain. I don't know how to explain it. I am sitting with it with total compassion. It can be there as long as it needs to be. And now I'm not avoiding it. It is better. The fear and the constant, it's just the constant anxiety, the constant dread, the constant spirals, the lack of ability to be present, the helplessness, everything that we experienced before this, from avoiding the pain, pain just feels like relief. It's relieving to acknowledge it and to be with it, even if it hurts. Because it's like, it hurts anyway. I'm just accepting and admitting that it hurts. I'm just seeing it and just feeling it. I'm just being with it, just being with myself and my pain and all parts of me. And it's so much better. And it's really painful and uncomfortable as an experience. And today I just like, oh my god, I just had enough today. I'm so impressed though, because it's like the first day that I've ranted to Ryan. Oh god, fucking bless his heart. He was so sweet and so supportive, and he always is. And just a brilliant fucking partner. And really gives me the space and validates and reassures me when I do vent. But I just had such a moment where like it was all of this. Just this is days. And these are good days. This is good days where we're doing all of the working through, and they'll like sometimes I'll have an overrun explosion of triggers and I'll sit journaling, catching everything and working through things and breathing and like doing the work and like, you know, and trying to take time wherever we find it to relax and not just be constantly moving and constantly healing and constantly working, because that would be re-traumatizing in another way. So finding time to slow down, even just slowing our breath and slowing my observations of the room around me and moving up, like learning when to use what skill set, I guess, is what's going on. And it's constant. And it's not fucking fair. And I'm exhausted. And today I really did, like, oh god, we lost every game. And, you know, continued to stand by myself and ourselves and be like, you know what? This is really hard. And it's triggering a lot of insecurities. And I'm not giving up anyway. And, like, just played through so much. This, like, badly. And it was okay, you know what? The world didn't explode, and neither did I. It was really uncomfortable, and there was a lot of dread and panic. And it took a lot to work through it. It took a lot to not quit. And I didn't quit. I kept doing it for hours. And we won a couple of games. But the most important thing is that I felt it was a lot of treading water with the coping mechanisms. It was very consistent. It was very hard work. And I got better. Even though the experience didn't change. Still losing. Still getting like fucking taken out by people. But because of the way I was validating and reassuring myself, the experience got less stressful. And I was really impressed with that. So it's like I built my resilience over time through just determination and not quitting and finding what I liked about my capabilities to reassure myself of, and validating what was difficult about the experience, and like all of this stuff made a tangible difference, because I wasn't having the leaps of like death panic or going into the freeze response after a couple of hours of doing it. I was at first. But after a couple of hours, I noticed my body relaxed a bit, and I got better, and my aim got better, because I couldn't even focus on trying to make my aim actually better. I was just reassuring my emotional state for a bit and getting used to the activity and the discomfort of it not going the way I planned. Basically, it was like the exercise in and of itself. And I was doing all this, and then at the end I like I like didn't remember to validate how irritating it was to fucking, because it was so annoying to just get killed all the fucking time. Like every run I'd just go around a corner, I'd die. Sometimes I'd spawn in and I'd just get shot, and I'd just be like, great, fuck, yeah. And to sit with that and breathe it out and not have the irritation build was such an exercise that I was focused on, that I missed a little bit of a layer by not validating that it was annoying and that it was making me feel angry. So I didn't, like, the anger kind of got forgotten about. And thank God Ryan, like, reminded me of that at the end. And I almost started just crying at that point, like, fell in on myself going, oh, how could I forget to do that? Like, oh, I didn't do it perfectly, and god damn it. But I caught it before it spiraled and went, okay, I'm doing so fucking much. Like, all day, every day. It's really exhausting. It's really a lot. So, and it's so hard to remember which skill set to swap out with which thing where. So I'm also really, really impressed with how I like caught that one. And but at that point, I was just like, I'm so fucking done, so fucking done, so fucking done with how exhausting and consistent every little bit of malware is to deprogram, and the antiviruses I'm running in my system are just like, so extensive all the time. Like, I don't miss a single beat if I can help it. I don't, and I don't really often take the easy route either. So it's like, because we could be allowing ourselves to dissociate as the defense that it's geared up to be. But my theory is that if I just keep working on grounding and being present, that will become my default and it will become easier, you know? So, like, I'm not taking the easy route at all by any stretch. And it's exhausting. And I was just like, I'm so fucking done. And I went off on a rant, and even that was difficult because I felt a lot of rage suddenly exploding out of me, and my impulse was to use language that we've been instilled with, which would kind of make things like the focus would be on what I felt I had done wrong, and on, like, it would be a bit self-persecutory, which would just split us and make us so much worse. So it was really, really challenging to have this fucking wave of rage that was valid and to express it while being mindful of how I was expressing it and being like choosing my words very carefully while words were hard to choose. My god, I'm doing a lot. And I can't even, like, occasionally I can, like, mostly I really just see from the outside what Valentine's doing, because it's like, it's the same sort of shit that I'm doing, but it looks, my jaw is on the fucking floor most days from how he's just tanking what looks like an impossible fucking circle of hell of shit. So it's like, there's a lot going on at the minute. And like, managing our triggers and changing our language and changing our behaviors and our core beliefs and our thought patterns and the way we show up for ourselves and for each other. And also, you know, learning to be forgiving and patient with ourselves when we do struggle. I wouldn't really ever say, actually, we haven't failed ever since starting this to show up for ourselves, for each other. Just having a mind-blowing moment of that. That's fucking amazing. We have been challenged and we have had really difficult moments, and we have said the wrong thing or done the wrong thing, but it's like immediately caught and dealt with in a healthy manner. So it's really, really, really constant. Really, it just feels like there's a million different tripwires all in my brain, all being held in different places, and and that's not even taking account of the physical symptoms, which kick off a lot of my health anxiety and like there's medical trauma triggers to work through. So it's like there's triggers everywhere, and we're kind of doing the same work to process and manage all triggers. So it's like, but it's just constant from everywhere. And I'm so fucking exhausted. And I'm so fucking proud of us. And it all exists at once. And it's messy. And it should be. And it's beautiful. And it's awful. And I wouldn't change it. My God, I wouldn't change it. And I do feel like I want to cry so much of the time. That in and of itself that's a journey. That's taking a while for our brain to feel safe enough to cry. So most of the time we just get like the pain I described and the gasping for air in our throat and the stinging of the eyes, and like more recently tears will slowly stream and we'll do a lot of yawning. So progress. Eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to access that super cool coping mechanism and get some sweet, sweet chemicals of relief. And for now, would recommend like slight pressure on the chest. That helps a lot, especially if somebody else in the system does it for someone when you're just really feeling that pain. Okay, I feel like I've never eaten before in my life. I'm starving to death. And I need sleep right the fuck now. The physical toll this all takes on the body is immense. It's a trip. It's a real trip, this healing. I really do fucking love it. Okay. Yeah, I'm done. I'm going to sleep. I really hope that every one of you glorious fuckers watching these videos is able to take space and time for whatever you need, guilt-free, and that you're able to rest and relax, guilt-free, pressure-free. Take whatever time you need to meet yourself where you're at and meet your needs.